Hello, today I'm going to go through the assembly of the 3-axis camera gimbal from CAME-TV. You can find this gimbal and all of CAME-TV's products online at www.CAME-TV.com. Some companies may be similar, so make sure that you see this logo, CAME-TV. With these products, CAME-TV is leading the way with construction and performance. Let's begin assembly of the camera gimbal. Okay, this is what the whole kit looks like of the 3-axis camera gimbal. All these parts are included in your kit. From here we're going to start the assembly. Take this, the main frame of the camera gimbal. You're going to set this to the side. Grab the bottom mounting plate. Bottom mounting plate. You're going to take this, slide this perfectly right into the main frame. There's 2 slots here that this will slide into. Here, we grab our black mounting screws. All of your screws fit perfectly into each of the slots. It's hard. You can't really interchange the screws. So if the screws do not fit, the chances are it's into the wrong slot. We set these into place. You don't have to worry about the measuring instructions. These are for the camera itself when mounting it, to make sure that you have it mounted evenly. The assembly is pretty straightforward. As we see here, we're not going to make these too tight, just enough that it's not going to slip out, but at the same time you're not going to lose the screws. There are 3 different assortments of screws, but as I say, you can't really mix these up, because each fitting is so different. There we go. One side. Okay, there's your camera mounting plate. And it fluctuates from sizes. It can go up or it can go down depending on your camera. Okay. From there, we're going to mount the handles into the top motor bracket. Okay, now we're going to start the assembly for the upper motor and handle attachment of the 3-axis camera gimbal. We're going to start by grabbing our frames, outer handle frames. As you can see, each of these has 2 identical parts. We have nutting bolts and then the slipped ones. We're going to grab these mounting pieces that mount the frame together. From here, these pair and this pair. We're going to start the assembly from the bottom. Grab our outer screws. While assembling this, you don't want to make the screws too tight at first, because we're later going to attach the carbon fiber tubings through these handles. And the same with this one. Like I said, we're going to keep these loose because these handles are later going to come through the hole. So. Now these two are going to turn perpendicular. So. Flip it around. Take two more of the attachments. Slip them into place. We're going to tighten these up a little bit later after we get the carbon fiber tubing into place. There's one. Okay, now we're going to assemble the other frame. With this, we're going to need these other two pieces. And we're going to go ahead and go into the electrical kit. And we're going to get this toggle switch out. This can be mounted left-handed or right-handed, depending on your preference. This is going to be virtually assembled almost the exact same way, except we're going to add the toggle switch as well. Let that down. This mounts on the outer four of the bracket. Slip it through. And then we make sure we line the holes up exactly the same into the third hole from the bottom. Like I said, a little bit of patience, but once you get it threaded slightly, it gets easier. Fold those two up. Again, those holes will only line up one way. No need to fasten them down tight because we still have to add the carbon fiber handles. And the looser those are, the easier it is to get the carbon fiber handles in there. And again, this can be mounted left-handed or right-handed, on the inside of the handle or on the outside of the handle, whatever your preference. two adjustments go in the exact same way. Says it helps not to tighten them down. You'll see as you start to add your carbon fiber tubing in there. Now that I have that slipped in, I'm going to make sure that I grab the smaller of the diameter handles, slip this into place. I want to make sure that I don't extend too far past, because it will restrict the motion of the camera when you start filming. This requires a little bit of finesse getting it in there. And loosening them. There we go. You want to make sure you fit into both sets. I'm going to loosen this one up on the toggles just so I get a little more play. Get it through. But I'm pretty sure you're getting the idea of what you need to do. There we go. And I've just brought it to the inside of the second ring. I'm going to take my handle, go ahead and insert it into the outer one. Up. I'm not too worried if the screw comes out too much, because it makes actually the slipping these carbon fiber tubings into place a lot easier. The handle slips all the way through to the second bracket. Now we have our upper handle assembly, like so. There's our two outer handles. Okay, from there, we're going to assemble to the sides. Okay, now that we have those handles, let's go ahead and finish up the upper handle. We're going to grab the two angle brackets. These already have the nuts attached to them. These are going to be mounted the same exact way. And the brackets can only attach to them only one way. Meaning as long as we keep these the same angle, the brackets will not fit this way, but they will fit this way. So it's very assembly friendly. Just making sure the brackets go the same way. Of course, we're not going to tighten these all down. We'll get it assembled and then get our carbon tubing together so it slips through a lot easier. Getting the first one started is always the most difficult. I'm leaving them just enough play so that I can get that tubing into place without any difficulty, or with as little difficulty as possible anyway. Okay, now that we have the mounting bracket for the upper handle and the attachment, we're going to go ahead and assemble it to the mounting handles and side handles. What we want to make sure here is the angle is going to angle forward. We can't put it backwards. We want it to angle forward onto the middle of the motor. It's going to be facing towards the middle of the motor. And take our smaller handle. It's going to slip into the bracket that already comes pre-assembled. We're going to have to loosen those up to make sure that our carbon fiber tubing can fit into there. Okay, now that we have the handles assembled, we're going to assemble the mounting bracket for the upper motor. This piece already comes assembled. What we're going to do is we're going to loosen up these screws so that we can fit the carbon fiber tubing through a lot easier. We grab the larger of the tubes. As you can see, the diameter in this is smaller on the inside as well as thicker. After loosening those up, we are going to fit the carbon fiber tubing through. Loosen up a little bit more. I may even go ahead and just take that, let it slip out. There we go. And on through the second one. What I've done here is actually taken the screws just enough that they slipped out of the thread. We're going to run that just enough that it's past flush. And then we can tighten our screws back down, and they're going to re-thread very, very easily. Like I said, later you may have to adjust it a little bit so that it lines up very evenly, but that's easy enough to do once you get it completely assembled. You'll have adjustments that you'll want to do that's going to fit what makes you more comfortable in filming. So I'm just making these just snug enough that it's taut. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the 90-degree elbow, this part here. We're going to slip this into the carbon fiber tubing. These fit through a lot easier than the others. And it fits all the way through until it hits the back of the 90-degree angle. So I want to try and line those up nice and straight. This, of course, is going to drop down to the other Allen wrench. I'm making these just tight enough that I get a snug fit. From there, we're going to grab the main frame, keeping it upright. And this position is going to mount on the upper carbon fiber, and that will slip right into place. Okay, now that we have the assemblies complete, we want to attach the upper motor assembly and handles to the main frame. As you can see here, we have two small screws. We want to make sure to loosen these screws enough that we have a complete clear hole through here so that the motor mount will assemble into this hole. As you can see, the hole has an angle on it, and on the inside of this hole is the same angle. Those two have to align up perfectly to allow it to slip into place. So I've loosened up these screws. I take the upper motor assembly, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly turn the motor with my index finger while applying pressure down with my left hand. A little bit of patience, and the two will sit together. A good sit, you will see the silver spacer sit firmly against the mount. Once those two sit, we can come back and tighten these two fine bolts back into place. And this isn't as difficult as it looks. It's just a little finicky getting everything lined up. A nice firm taut. Okay, we have the assembly of the main frame pretty much complete. We are going to go ahead and attach the camera. This was optional for now, but we'll go ahead and attach the camera mounting bracket. And with this attaches right here. The holes line up, and we're going to use the black screws for that. You have two assorted pieces of black screws, different sizes. Of course, only one will fit through, as you can see. And then the smaller. Only one will fit through the diameter of the hole. If it fits through easily, then it's the wrong screw. And again, this is of course for mounting the camera to the bracket in the main frame. Whoop. And that one you can go ahead and snug completely. From there, we have the two mounting pieces that will slip through, and we'll adjust back and forth. The one part we're not going to attach yet because we don't have the camera would be this piece. This is going to slip into here. And depending on the depth of your camera or what type of camera you have, this piece is going to slip and attach through the bracket here. We're not going to leave that in there because you need the camera in place to mount, of course. So now, on our next video, what we're going to do is show the assembly of the control panel and wiring of the 3-axis gimbal.